but I couldn't move. Like it took me. I'm like, what do I do? So everything was taking so long that I was like, okay, forget it. Can you just play it and I'll watch you so I get an idea? Because this set will be here for days at this rate.
The Dead Space, this game came out again, and after such a long time, because you worked in the second game, Dead Space 2, and then you worked all these years after you work in this game. So how was it that you reprised this role of Nicole character?
So bizarre. Okay, so I hadn't worked on a game pre Dead Space or post Dead Space 2, right? Like that was my solo journey on a video game. And so during COVID, we were in Canada, my family and and I got a call to read for this role in Medusa.
Ooh.
And then I got booked on Medusa. So
I
as a
see.
doctor, right? And I didn't know that I was actually going to be working on Dead Space, the remake, until I walked into the room. They're like, we went to this conference room, and there are all the producers from Motive and on a Zoom call, and they were like, hey, yeah, I know you think you're doing Medusa, but heads up, you're not. You're gonna be doing Nicole again. So that's how that all came to be. So it was kind of a surprise. Well, it was 100% a surprise. Yeah.
So you had no idea that this said
No.
Medusa is a game?
What's that?
You had no idea that this thing is a game at all, or was it like you knew it was a game but didn't know what game it is?
No, I thought it was a Medusa game. I thought it was like a video game for Medusa.
I
Yeah,
see.
so that's what I thought I was getting prepared to do. But
Well, you
lo
got
and
this role.
behold, how wrong was I? Yeah.
Up there! No!
I know that all those years back in Dead Space 2,
Yeah.
I assume that the process might be a little bit different versus now. Did you find any kind of difference from then till now?
Yeah, I mean, okay, preface it by saying my memory is horrible. So, but the difference that I remember the most distinctly was we did not have a head-mounted camera
Obviously.
on us. It was more those dots.
Mm-hmm.
So every day, whenever that was, like 12 years ago, 13, 14 years ago, yeah. We would show up on set, and the first, God, how long it took a while, right? Like they would just stick all the cameras on you.
Yeah.
And this was different. You actually had a head camera on you instead. So that was the major difference. But aside from that, like the studio was the same setup, and it's kind of like shooting in an arena, and it's all taped up. Like this is where this is, look at this dot here. This is where this thing here, this is a necromorph, this, so it's all, that was very similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, was it ever weird to have like, you have to have this headpiece on and then there's a thing in front of it?
I mean, at first I guess so, but as soon as you start doing it, you forget about it. And then, you take the thing on and off. But the whole thing felt just so familiar. I mean, there's Isaac Clarke is the exact same person, and we're just, and it feels like no time has passed at all. So
yeah, that's
great
so
to be connected with Gunnar and and the whole EA team. But yeah.
That's wonderful. I love that you guys came back for this, because when I got to know like this game's coming back, I was like, oh my god, these guys are gonna be coming back too, and I was like, this is so cool. They're coming back too. The same people who worked on the Dead Space 2 game, and I'm so glad that happened. The popularity of this game is huge. Did you know? Like, do you see, like, what do you think about this popularity of this game being so big that people were like so much excited to play this game?
I know. I mean, I feel so I feel so grateful to be a part of something that has been such a huge, form of entertainment for so many people. And I mean, hats off to Motive too, right? For like taking this game. And I think there was my understanding, just having been to Comic-Con when Dead Space 2 was coming out, and then they announced that this was going to be the new Nicole, and the hissing nobody really hissed, but like just the looks I received at that point, I was just like, oh, I get it though. I get people get hooked onto one character, one way of doing things.
Yeah.
That is hard to break out of that. But so I think that my guess is the same was true with remaking it, right? People are like, well, if it ain't broke, but at the same time, it sounds like people are really, really happy with what Motive has done, right?
Oh yeah, very much. Very, very
They've
much.
given Isaac a voice. They fleshed out all these characters so much more than in Dead Space 2. And yeah, I mean, my favorite part of playing Nicole, I think, was being the ghost portion of her. So that doesn't exist quite as much in this one,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I mean, it was great that they fleshed her out, and that you get a greater understanding as to why Isaac is fighting as hard as he is,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
At the end of, like, I don't know if you remember this moment, but like there's a moment, like, it happens towards the end of the game where I don't know if you did this or not, but you were kind of like zombified, or not exactly, maybe kind of zombified, where you kind of like scream towards Gunnar when he's like at the very end, he's sitting as normal, and then he turns his head around, and then you are there, just screamed at him. And I don't know if you did that, or was it like
Oh yeah.
it was
Yeah.
oh yeah was that
Yeah.
fun to do? Like,
Yeah. I loved it. Like, I love being this sort of like gargoyle character. It's my just like leaping out at him and stuff like that was my absolute favorite. Did you ever see the did you ever see the I think it was made in 1980 or late 70s, the George C. Scott horror movie, The Changeling?
yes, actually I have. Really.
So you know how the voice of like the kid in the
Yeah.
bathtub?
Oh man.
It's horrible, but the whole Joseph, that
Yeah.
thing. That's where I think I was trying to channel that voice when I was playing the voice of Nicole.
Oh man.
I remember this one time this is like when I was doing Dead Space 2, I was going over my lines right before bed, and I was having my partner read I don't even know who it was at the time, but I don't know. I was having him read the other lines though, and I was just to learn them, just to get them in my body a bit before the next day. And then we fell asleep, and I guess hours later, unbeknownst to me, I shot up straight in bed and said something really cryptic and spooky, like, because my guy was like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And apparently I was just staring straight ahead, like this. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I said something really fucked up, like not make us whole, probably, but like something along those lines, And he was just. He said he didn't go to sleep for the rest of the night.
Oh man.
And I just fell back and went and passed out. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I used to watch. What's that?
I think it, like, the scarier part of probably Nicole just got into you, like you went through.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I used to watch a lot of horror, but now I'm a mom now, and it takes a different toll on me now. And also my partner hates it, so we don't.
Man, I love watching horror. It's like, that's why I like wanted to play this game, because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's coming back again. I'm gonna be very frightened and scared, so I'm gonna play it, and I love horror.
So how long do you play for when you play? How are you?
Well, the game was like around 15-ish hours long.
Right.
But it's
But like how long will you play in like a consecutive time frame?
Oh, for I usually play like I don't know, like I think 4 or 5 hours at once, in one sitting, I guess, 4 or 5 hours. But I would really love the moments where I think everything is fine, and then something from behind just jumps down. That makes me jump.
I love that feeling though.
That's great.
I was trying to explain that to my daughter too, right? Like, Mom, why do you like that stuff? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I like the jolt of feeling anything, I suppose. And this is just so immediate. And
yeah,
terrifying. And I guess the benefit is knowing that it's not real at the end. I'm not sure. It's a really good question.
It's like
But I
I
love
can't explain it, but I love it. Just that's it.
I
Just
love it, and I always have. I always have.
that's lovely. I love that. That's so cool.
Don't you want to be reunited with the people you lost?
Do you think like you had any challenges when you played this role, especially in this one? If you have any most challenging part or moment that you know of?
Nicole, the one that's like the perfect girlfriend that says everything that Isaac wants to hear, and
Yeah.
you know, trying to like, but she's dreamlike, right? Like it's this cross of she's this, but she's that, but she's this, but she's that. So she's calm, but she's but she's sweet, and she like I don't know. I found trying to portray that without sounding too stoned or high was the challenging part. And I feel like I would walk away from a day of doing that in the sound booth and just being like, I was so wrong that I shouldn't have done it. Like, maybe I should. And then I would like do the lines over and over and over in my head. Maybe if I did it like, or I'd hear a voice like a few days later, I'm like, that's it. I should have done that. But what? I don't know.
Oh
I don't
man.
know.
I find like I don't know how you guys even like figure out how to do this. Like I know you guys are actors, you guys are way more professional. Obviously, you guys know way more. But you have like those moments where you like just don't know how to proceed with this, and you have like
you know what? I find that if I think about it too much, it's the worst thing I can possibly do. I try not to think about it too much. You know, whenever I've worked with the director and they said, "What can I do for you? Like, what is the best? What do you appreciate the most, or what do you need from me?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I always say that, like, you know, if you need it more sinister, let's just say, or if you need it pulled back a bit more or a little bit more, just say one word, 2 words, 3 words max, and then walk away. The whole too much story behind it, then I get in my head about it. If it just is like sweeter, or you know, not that that's like the best direction per se, but I can understand, like I can interpret that. That's my job to interpret what those adjectives mean, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm being told that, to just allow me to do it kind of quickly too. Then it's like, blah, blah. If I'm like, oh, if I, then I mean, no, it's the same. I've also noticed that like doing takes of anything, it's usually the first take or the third take that are the ones that land the most. But anything after that, unless it's like a day goes by and you're like, you know what, we're going to totally reshape this. Let's have a fresh start on it, you know?
So I think it's like much more easier for you to, if somebody says like, okay, this is like sort of the direction, like very simple ways, very simple ways, like this is it, like that's it. There's not more long explanation. Oh, she does this and then did this.
Like I remember working with this a long time ago in New York and having like, you know, I think she, you know, something happened to her in her past and they're giving me this whole backstory that was based on like something that might have happened or something like that. But that was sort of up to me to create. And it really, I just remember going, that is not at all what I had in mind. Like I can arrive at it in a different way, but to talk too much about it and then have me do it is like, I like to discuss it, but not right before I shoot.
Yeah, completely makes sense. Yeah. It helps the actors too, like, you know, to you know.
Yeah, because I think it's got to be its play, right? Yeah. Like, and it's got to be more instinctive. If it's too blah blah, then it just gets too trapped in here.
yeah, and that's not good at all.
Not for me. I mean, that's just me, but no.
I can understand that. I think if I, for sure, I'm not doing it. But if I ever got to do it, I would be probably disturbed. Like, oh my god, I don't know what to do, and I would probably not be
like, wait, what was the first thing you said? Well, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Have you ever seen any of the scenes from the game of you?
About, this is sort of embarrassing, I guess, but about what, 5, 6 years ago or something like that, I was doing an interview for Dead Space 2, which I found kind of funny because it was so many years after we'd made it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what, I should, this is ridiculous. Like, I should really just play a little bit of this game to get a feel of what it is that, is out there.
Yeah.
So I went to my friend's house who plays games, and he had it. And so I sat down and I attempted, but I couldn't move. Like, it took me, I'm like, what do I do? So everything was taking so long that I was like, okay, forget it. Can you just play it and I'll watch you so I get an idea? Because this will be here for days at this rate. And he did. And so I saw a little bit of it then, but just little pieces because it was right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I don't think she comes out too much at that time. Like, and I've seen a few, like my nephews at one point asked me, and I said, I think there's probably something online. And then I showed them, and that was the first time I saw it. And this is a couple years ago too. And then like a YouTube clip, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, huh. Yeah, so that.
Is
that's you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out.
Looks like that's me. I think so. You can just.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it like ever weird looking at your own scenes, or is it like you're fine with it?
Depends. I usually hate it, actually.
Is it like because you kind of like overjudge yourself or something like that goes on?
Fully. It's like when I'm about to shoot something, I usually am not that nervous going in, but afterwards, it's like, okay, what just happened? What did I do? And that's why, like I've told you, I go through all the lines in my head again.
Yeah.
Think of how I could have done them differently. Try to replay every little like, it's so stupid. And so so watching it, I don't know, I'm not someone who, like, I don't ever watch anything I do sometimes, but that's it. And the older I get, honestly, not quite as much. And that's just that has more to do with just the fact that, like, I don't know, I just have more on my plate now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Family, kids, blah, blah.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense. Yeah, you have so much to do. It's so hard to get back to the things that you worked on and watch it, because it takes time to like watch all these things anyway, and then you have all of these things to work on as well. So I completely understand that you don't get the time to watch it, and I also understand because for example, me, it's like when I watch something that I have done, it's very hard for me to watch it because I don't like
without the credit. You're just self-criticizing.
There's something going on in my head all the time.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just,
plus, I mean, often you see it, like if you're doing film or TV or something like that, like you see often in ADR, which is, you often see what your work, right? Completely,
yeah, totally. But this is one thing that I think is all coming from here. It's like one of the things that I always deal with, and I think a lot of people do you ever feel like being anxious around any of the scenes that you ever do, whether it's this game or whether it's any movies, TV shows, whatever it is? Do you have that anxiety coming along in when you're going to the shootings, or whether it's any other scene? Do you feel that coming straight in?
I the way I have realized that I register anxiety is I don't, like, it's not like I don't shake or anything. I feel calm. I feel calm. But then I'm like, I haven't eaten in 10 hours or something. Yeah. And that's the indication. I'm like, oh, you're scared. You're nervous. That's the indication, is my clenched stomach that I don't even realize is clenched until I realize that I'm starving, but I can't eat.
Yeah, it's the same, similar for me as well. It's I probably don't drink. Sometimes it's like, and then my head hurts. I'm like, oh wait, there's a bottle.
Is it liquid for you? Yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's a bottle filled up, like it's not been opened. Like I should really do that. So
Like I used to be a stage actor in New York for 14 years before coming to California. And I mean, yeah, I used to get stage fright and all that stuff too. I mean, ultimately I'm very much an introvert and very shy. And I think that I've gotten into this business as a way to overcompensate all that, or an attempt to like break out of that. But that's a different story. I think that I did a play about, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago, but I hadn't done a play in years and years. And I did this play in a theater that had like 32 seats or something. Like it was so small. I've performed for thousands of people before, right before that when I did that.
Yeah.
But this was like the smallest little theater. It was very intimate, obviously. And I don't know if I've ever been more terrified in my life. I was like, why do I do this? Why am I doing this? This is insane. You know, and I remember talking to an actress. This is back in my New York days, and she was probably the age that I'm now. I'm 50 now, and she was so nervous too of this one thing. And she was such a seasoned actor, like she'd been around a lot. She'd done tons of theater, blah blah blah. I'm like, really? But this is such a small venue. Like what? And she goes, it gets worse. The older you get, the worse it gets.
Oh.
Why? She said, it's because your body. I mean, I'm butchering this quote, but essentially your body holds secrets, right? Your body remembers the time you forgot your line back in like 1999 or whatever, or the time, you know, it holds on to all of that.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, you step away from it for a certain amount of time, you come back to it and you think, oh, fresh start. And no, it's worse. But you know, you do it anyway. The high is just the high is the best though. So
Yeah.
you know, it's worth it. The fear is worth it because the high is that great.
Yeah.
I will say that. No regrets, but I just was blown away by how terrified I was.
Yeah, I think everybody has those kind of like moments where they're like, oh my god, like none of this is working now. Like it's all of that just rushes in. Like I remember this happened that time. It's gonna happen again and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so hard to deal with that. Oh my god.
Yeah, and you might not even know what that thing is. Like might not even know what the fear is. Like you might not be able to remember like exactly. Oh, it was when I was here doing this play, saying this. But it's just something something in your body remembers it and is like, don't do that again.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Run for your life.
It's like one note that you check off, like do not do this and this and this, like 5 things that you don't. Make sure.
Yeah. And here you are again.
Yes. Well, I'm gonna go with the one last question. I know you have not enough time, but you know that's Dead Space got remade. There's a possibility that the second game, Dead Space 2, possibly gets remake. If that happens, and you know you get to play Nicole, would you have like a different? What would you think like could be an improved, like improvisations or like things that can be improved for the character of Nicole, as compared to the original game that you want to see happen?
Oh my God, I haven't even thought of it. I mean, I think that, you know, Joanna Barry, who is the writer of this remake, did such a phenomenal job. You know, I mean, just really fleshing her out, showing just like her strong sense of what's right, what's wrong, what's like, you know, when challenged or she's like up against injustice, she's got this tendency to pick fights that she can't necessarily win, but she does it anyway. You know, she pushes back regardless of the danger that is inevitable. And I don't know. I think that like how she combined that with the sense of empathy that Nicole has for these patients that she's trying to, you know, keep away from the Church of Unitology and all that. Like, I think she's done a really, really good job. So I don't know. I'd have to actually think about that. I mean, ideally, I would just, you know, want to turn into a gargoyle and scare people and jump out at people as the ghost of Nicole constantly. So, but that's only just a personal.
I mean, I would love to see that, to be honest. I would love to see. So that's okay. That's the one. It's like you could kind of be the leader of like, hey, you know what? Other necromorphs, you do this. I'm the queen here. You do this. I'm gonna be the one who's gonna scare the most.
Ooh. Oh, so you've thought about that. I love it.
Actually, yeah, I thought like that'd be cool. Every necromorph like would like follow you and your orders and all that stuff, and you would be like the bad, the bad one that everybody's terrified of.
Oh my god, I love that. I think you should pitch that.
Well, it's out there, I guess.
Someday, somewhere.
Someday,
Somehow.
somewhere. I would love to see that. Well, to be honest, thank you so much for taking the time, for talking to me about this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What a joy. And thanks to everybody out there who's loving the game. And yeah, keep playing.
Yeah, love you. I just everybody's having a great time, and it's phenomenal. So again, thank you. It's been it's such a great moment for me to talk to someone who worked in a game like this. I'm just thrilled and just excited to like I'm getting to share the story of your story to people, and hopefully it can help someone out, and hopefully people get to know some information that they didn't know and get to know you in general. So again, thank you once more.
Anytime. I hope we meet one day.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything.